what we've seen actually when we arrived here, the students were just making their way inside here. But we understand that as a contingency plan, and of course looking back at what had happened before in this very campus, Wits University has taken the liberty of actually putting all of these guards here just to ensure that no property is being damaged. But the security here hasn't been engaging the students. They've just been guarding. If I can allow my colleague Ashley to show you, they've just been guarding some of the facilities here while the students gather at this Solomon Mahlangu Hall. I am joined by the Treasury General of the SRC, who's going to just take us through the hunger strike. Tell me about the hunger strike here. What prompted that, and what exactly does that mean for your protest?
I think what prompted the hunger strike is that we wanted to have a very peaceful protest after management contradicting themselves. We had met with our DVC, Professor Crouch, and we made some concessions in that meeting. He even sent those meeting resolutions to us. But then when we released a statement, he contradicts our statement and says that what we are saying is false. So what we had initially agreed on was that students who have applied for the SRC Hardship Fund, who owe less than 100,000 Rand, will be allowed to register. So the SRC Hardship Fund it assists students with outstanding debt. It pays 50% of what you owe. And that's in line with the university's concession that if a student owes money to the university, for them to be able to register, they must pay 50% of what they owe. Now he's saying that what we are saying is false. And that is why now, because students are so aggravated and they can't even register, this is what's happening. The second plight of students is accommodation. There are students who have no funding, who have no accommodation. And we do have 160 beds that were donated to us, but we have more than 580 students who need emergency accommodation. That's what we refer to it as. So behind me, these are all the students who have no place to sleep. They occupy our libraries, our labs, the SRC offices. And we are saying something must be done about that. We want our VC to come and address his students. Unfortunately, he's not here. He's in Cape Town. So we demand him to come back and fix the dilemma that's happening on campus.
I mean, what you were telling me off camera was that the shutdown is imminent if they're not responding to your demands here. But just take me through some of your demands and the timeline in which you want those demands to be answered.
Yeah. Our major demands, we want students to be able to register, irrespective of the fact that they owe the university, because there is a fund in place that is there to accommodate such students that has to pay off their debt. Secondly, we want the school to make a plan. If previously in the years they would provide emergency accommodation and open up a building, but this year there is no contingency plan. So we want them to do something about the students who have no accommodation. I think those are the two major calls currently. So the hunger strike was supposed to be peaceful, but as you can see, we have private security that has been hired, and they are very militant towards us. They harass us. So that's not the approach initially we wanted to take. In fact, protests are never what we want to do, but it seems like that's the only language that our management understands.
All right, let me just move to some of the students here that you were talking about, but these are the students that are sleeping here. Understand some of them are in libraries and in SRC rooms just to ensure that they get shelter as they try and register in the university. I am going to try and speak to one of them here, but the situation here, Kathy, as you can see, some of them sleeping here at the Solomon Mahlangu Hall. Brother, thank you so much for agreeing to talk to me. But just take me through here the situation that you have been subjected to. What is the problem that has led you to sleep here?
So the university is progressively trying to check out senior students out of internal residences, and so they want to feed them off to, let's say, other residences off campus, which charge very exorbitant fees. So just like a lot of students out there, we can't afford that, and the university is now conceding to our demand of saying, can we please at least have emergency accommodation? I am aware that last year it was done, but then I don't know why they're not trying to assist students in that regard this year. So it has left a lot of us homeless. So most of us are probably crashing with a friend. Some of us have been forced to travel to stay with distant relatives.
But just take me through here. I always refer to when I see problems such as this saying 25 years after democracy. But, just take us through the fact that we've had freedom for like 25 years now, and being subjected to this as a person trying to access education. How does it feel from your perspective, from your side?
As a young person, it really feels painful. It's painful because obviously, we have been failed as black people, as young people. 25 years into democracy, you would expect systems to be put in place to support students in that regard. For instance, we know that NSFAS has been trying to help students, but then centralizing it only made things worse. It's like, for example, in my case, I was wrongfully rejected. Apparently, I'm from a family that makes, let's say that earns a household income of about 122. Initially, they said 350K, and they had to review it. And when the outcome came back again, it was the same story, which is not true. We are in the process of appealing. And, when you appeal these things, it takes months, if not, the entire semester for them to come back to you. And by that time, you'll probably be homeless on campus. Yeah.
But just as a last one here, it's not usually what we do, but as a young person sitting here trying to access education, there must be some officials that are watching this. What is the message that you would like, very briefly, to give to those officials that can be able to change your situation here?
Well, from an ideological point of view, saying to officials or maybe people of influence or people who are heavily moneyed to fund education through donations, that's, I would say, given that we are 25 years into this democracy, that's not what we want. What students need, what South Africa needs is a system that gives students a free education. That's all we're asking for. We've been here since 2016 asking for free education. They gave us a half-cooked version of free education, which is a free or a bursary NSFAS, which is not solving any problems right now. So to them, I'd say, obviously, there are intellectuals or academics who would say that funding must be increased, but that is not a sustainable solution. It's not sustainable to say that we should, fund specific people or should donate rather. It should be accessible to everyone, whether you're asking for a donation or not.
All right, brother. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Kathy, that is one of the students that is actually lacks accommodation. They're sleeping here, as you can see, most of them just in groups and trying to register or trying to get positive feedback from the management here to actually be able to register. That is the plight. The SRC is, of course, on a hunger strike, and they're saying that they will be shutting down the university should they not get a positive feedback from management.